Never thought I'd be making this video, but here we are. Welcome in, Broncos country, to the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. My name is Moose, and if you are seeing this correct, yep, Micah Parsons has officially requested a trade from the Dallas Cowboys in a way too long Instagram and Twitter post that I don't want to spend the time dissecting. So if you want to see what he officially said about his statement and his time with the Cowboys, feel free to go ahead and do that. Now, the reason I'm making this video, because you might be looking at this going, why on earth are the Broncos, or should the Broncos be interested in Micah Parsons? Well, it's a little complicated right now because the Broncos couldn't possibly be listed to land Micah Parsons, right? You wouldn't think for a single second that that's a possibility, and then you would be wrong because according to odds by Sports Betting AG, so this is one of the most trusted sports betting sites in the nation. It's like top 3. Here are the official odds for Micah Parsons' next landing. Now, I know this is tough to see, but the Denver Broncos, a little bit lower on this list at plus 2,500 odds, right next to the Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens. But crazier things have definitely happened. Now, there's 2 things on this chart and on this photo that I kind of want to highlight. One being the Broncos at 2,500, and the other one being the Chargers at plus 700. So we're going to talk about both of those things coming up here in just a second. But before we do that, my friends, we have 8 days until we are live for our very first preseason game against the 49ers. And we are going to go absolutely wild on our very first preseason game here on the Broncos Breakdown. So I have a challenge. In the next 8 days, can we get 210 new subscribers to push us to 38,000 strong before kickoff on the 9th? I believe that we can do it, but I need loyal Broncos fans who loved free Denver Broncos content to hit that subscribe button. All right, so the Broncos, we don't need Micah. They don't need him. You don't go number 1 in the entire NFL with 63 sacks in 2024 and then suddenly realize, oh, we need a superstar pass rusher because the Broncos' front 5 is outstanding. Probably the best, if not second best, in the entire NFL. You could make an argument about the Eagles. But Cooper, Allen, DJ Jones, Franklin Myers, and Nik Bonitto are ballistic. All 5 of those guys are going to go absolutely crazy. So the Broncos don't need to go out and trade for a guy like Micah Parsons. It wouldn't be smart, considering they have what basically Micah gives you in 1 player, the Broncos could do in 1.5 players, if that makes sense. I do want to, however, address the other elephant in the room, and that would be the Chargers having the 3rd best odds. And at first I was like, come on, you're just throwing that out there because LA's a big market, right? Well, then I started to do some research, and I'm like, actually, this might have a little validity to it. Now, again, it's the Chargers, so thank God it's not the Raiders or the Chiefs, but they are still in the Broncos division, so it is something that you have to at least keep an eye on, considering their only pass rusher of note is Khalil Mack. And I find this interesting because Khalil Mack was the last major edge rusher, like big-time, huge-name player, that got traded in his prime. And remember, he got traded from the Raiders to the Bears. So this draws some similarities. In fact, Adam Schefter said that this is probably the most similar scenario, was the Khalil Mack trade and the Micah Parsons trade. Well, how does it work from the finances? I did dig into that as well. The Chargers have $31.5 million in available cap space. Not enough to sign him to a long-term deal right away, but what you could do is trade some players away, free up a little bit more cap space, get to about $45 million, and then, boom, make your move. Listen, I don't want it to happen, but it could happen. It is a possibility, and they are listed as the 3rd best odds to land Micah. So if that were to happen, fingers crossed that you have some good game planning there, Sean Payton, because stopping Micah Parsons is a tough task. He's not just an edge rusher. He can also drop back in pass coverage as well. He's one of the best in the NFL, there's no doubt. So let's talk a little bit more here about where Micah's going to play in 2025. I don't think it's the Cowboys. Everybody seems to think here in the Chat Sports office that this is just a play and that he's going to stay with the Cowboys. I think he's actually done. I think he means that. I think if Jerry came to him with a contract offer that he really wanted today, I don't know if he'd sign it. I really don't. I think he's kind of over the Jerry Jones experience. So, in my opinion, I don't really have a team yet. The Bears do make a lot of sense, believe it or not, but that's just my prognostication right now. I can't really go forward with anything. This is really, really new. I'll have to do some more research. Either way, let me know in the comment section down below. Here's the real reason why I wanted to bring this up. This could affect Nik Bonitto's contract extension, and I'll explain in a little bit considering how much Micah Parsons is going to want here in just a while. But before we do that, it's the last bit of time that you can get in on this amazing Broncos hoodie sale. I'm talking the stuff that I'm wearing. I'm talking the stuff that Broncos players are wearing. The very best gear for all Broncos fans can be found in the comments and description of today's video. All you got to do is click on that link. Once you do, it'll take you right to the Fanatics website, and you can start shopping to your little heart's content. But do me a favor, use the link that I put in the comments and description before you start shopping. One more time, thank you to Fanatics for sponsoring today's video. So when I talk about how this could affect Nik Bonitto's contract, I think it's important to start at where the highest paid edge rushers are per year. TJ Watt just reset the market, albeit by $1 million, but he is the highest paid. And I think Micah looks at this and go, if TJ got that money and he's at 30 plus years old and I'm at 26 years old, I should easily get above $42 million per year. And again, Micah's great. There's no doubt in my mind that he deserves his money. I mean, ever since he got into the league, he's been a wrecking ball. In fact, it's been almost double team after double team after double team. But the stats don't lie. Dude's a beast. He had 20 tackles for loss in 2021. And it wasn't until after his rookie season that teams even remotely decided, hey, we're going to throw a couple of other defenders on him and just try to limit him. Because that's really all you can do with Micah. You can't stop him. You can just kind of keep him at ease. But remember, with great power comes a great price tag. Micah wants more than $40 million a year. You could pretty much guarantee it. It's going to be somewhere in that $42 to $44 million per year range. That's just my thoughts. I'm probably on or spot on with that, at least in my opinion. It's fine, Alper. Don't go to it. It's okay. So when I look at this and I say, if Micah gets 42 to 44 million bucks per year, you can fully expect, there we go, Nik Bonitto's price tag to go up. Because once the market gets reset, even by $1 million or $2 million, that alerts all the other guys down below and drives the price up. It happens with every position. You just saw it with the cornerbacks. Sauce Gardner ended up getting the most by, what, 150 grand? So it now makes Pat Surtain's deal look amazing. But at one point, Pat Surtain was getting crazy money. So you have to kind of take this and view it as like you have to be ahead of the curve. And Jerry Jones has never been ahead of the curve. So Nik Bonitto now, as the Broncos' highest driving commodity, I would call him, will probably command $24 million per year. Spotrac values this currently at right around 23, maybe slightly underneath, and that is going up constantly, and especially because now Micah Parsons has let it known how much he wants to get paid. So with Bonitto's $24 million per year, and if Alper, if you want to throw his stats up real quick, we can go through that real fast. Bonitto is one of those players that really shot onto the scene in 2024. I mean, you can clearly see that, like, 2022, he was just dipping his toe into the water. 2023, a very, very good pass rusher. And then in 2024, he was electric. So you see another season like this or even better, you could see Nik Bonitto garner even more than what I'm predicting. But this is right now. I'm talking like today, August 1st of 2025. Bonitto will probably want a 4-year, $96 million contract. That's $24 million per year. Now, again, if the Broncos want to wait and sit back and just say, let's let the 2025 season play out, you could be looking at 30-plus million, which is also a problem because you got to pay Zach Allen and John Franklin Myers. So one of those guys isn't going to get what they want. There's just not enough money. So I'll ask you this before we end today's show. Would you pay Nik Bonitto $24 million per year? Right now, I would say yes. I would absolutely say yes. If we're looking at what he's predicted to do next season, I would absolutely pay Nik Bonitto $24 million a year right now. It would be a steal. A steal. But let me know in the comment section down below. That is going to do it for us on today's episode. A reminder to subscribe to the channel if you have not already. We're trying to get to 38,000 before August 9th. Like the video if you haven't already. And as always, be cool.